are moments in life where the pain becomes too loud to ignore. The kind of pain that doesn't just stay in your chest, it climbs up into your throat, it settles in your thoughts, it wakes you up in the middle of the night, it vanishes to find rest. You smile in public, you post like everything's together, but in private you're unraveling. Quietly, carefully, consistently. You wonder if the ache will ever loosen its grip. You wonder if what broke you will define you. You look around and everyone seems so ahead, so untouched, so whole, and you question if you missed the moment when everything was supposed to come together. But let me tell you something real, nothing about your pain is wasted. I know it doesn't make sense right now. I know it feels unfair, like life went left when you were beginning to go right. But what if this pain is the soil? The kind of soil that breaks you open, not to destroy you, but to make room for something new to grow. See, transformation rarely happens in the light. It's in the dark places, the lonely spaces, the moments where you feel like you're the only one fighting. That's where change is born. You thought it was over, but this is just the planting. The tears you cried, they were watering something. The heartbreak you endured, it was shaking loose everything that couldn't stay. That loss that felt like it crushed you. It was pressing out the oil, the strength, the wisdom, the clarity. Sometimes the pressure is necessary, not because you deserve the pain, but because the version of you're becoming needed a push to emerge. You keep trying to go back to who you were before the pain. But that version of you, that version couldn't carry the weight of what's coming. That version was comfortable. She was safe, but she was small. This pain, it stretched you, it expanded your capacity. It awakened something in you that Eve never could. Don't despise the valley. Don't rush through the process. Because even when it feels like nothing is happening, something is. Healing isn't always loud. Growth isn't always obvious. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs are the quiet ones. The ones that sneak up on you in the middle of the night when you realize you didn't cry yourself to sleep this time. When you wake up and the weight feels just a little lighter. When you really laugh and it doesn't feel like pretending. That's how you know the healing is working. And listen, I know people might look at you and only see the highlight reel. They don't see the backstory. They don't see the nights you fought to believe in something better. But trust me, what they don't see is what makes you powerful. What they don't see is what's making you unshakable. Your scars aren't signs of weakness, they are symbols of survival. You didn't just go through it, you grew through it. The pain gave you vision. It taught you how to see what really matters. It showed you who's really for you. It pulled back the curtain on things you used to tolerate, people you used to try to, cycles you used to call love. You don't beg anymore, you build. You don't perform anymore, you protect your peace. And that shift is evidence that Pain is producing something. You were chosen for this, not because it's fair, not because it's easy, but because there's something inside of you that refuses to die. That part of you that kept going when you didn't think you could, that's where the gold is. That's where the calling is. That's where the purpose is being refined. You are stronger than you think, wiser than you know, and more equipped than you feel. The enemy isn't the pain, the enemy is the lie that says this pain will define you. But let me tell you something, it won't. This pain, it's going to turn into power. This breakdown, it's going to become your breakthrough. Every piece of your story that you thought disqualified you, that's the very thing that's going to unlock doors. Someone out there is waiting on your testimony, waiting on you to stand in your truth, unashamed, and declare, I came through the fire, and I didn't come out empty-handed. You carry oil now, wisdom now, oil. You know what it means to be pressed but not crushed. You know what it feels like to be overlooked, underestimated, forgotten, and still rise. So walk like someone who's been through the fire and lived to tell the story. Speak like someone who's kissed the ground and got back up anyway. You didn't just survive, you leveled up. And now Now you get to pour from a place of healing. You get to lead from your scars, not your wounds. You get to show someone else that it's possible to be broken and still beautiful, to be crushed and still chosen, to be clawed and still called. This pain didn't come to bury you, it came to birth you. So take your time. Breathe. Grieve what needs to be grieved, but don't stop moving. Don't stop believing that something good is coming out of this. The darkness won't last forever. There's light up ahead, and you're going to see it. Not because everything's perfect, but because you didn't give up when it wasn't. And when you do see it, that peace, that clarity, that breakthrough, you'll realize it wasn't just about getting through the pain. It was about discovering the power you always had inside of you. The pain didn't make you weak. It revealed your strength. So don't be afraid to rise again. Even if you're trembling. Even if you're still healing. Even if you don't have it all figured out. Rise anyway. Because this pain is part of your story, but it's not the end of it. Sometimes we think that pain is punishment. That the hard seasons mean we did something wrong, or we missed a step, or we failed many times to recover. But that's not the truth. The truth is often the soil where the real you starts to grow. It's not pretty, it's not Instagram worthy, and it definitely doesn't feel good. But it's necessary to see. Nothing powerful ever grows without being buried first. These don't flourish on the surface, they need to be dropped into the dirt, covered, and left in the dark. And that's exactly how some of our seasons feel. Dark. Piloted, covered up, like no one sees us, no one gets it, and nothing is happening. But something is, something sacred, something necessary, something deep is taking root. That heartbreak. That disappointment, that betrayal. That season where you say so, where you quiet, where you smiled in public and crumbled in private, that wasn't wasted. That was the turning point. That was the moment the old you started to break apart, and the real you, the one with vision, power, wisdom, and authority, started to emerge. It didn't look like growth, but it was. Sometimes becoming more looks like losing everything you thought made you whole. The next chapter, you don't grow in comfort. You grow when the pressure forces you to reach deep, to draw from strength you didn't even know you had. And the thing about being planted is that no one sees the process. People see the fruit, but they don't see the fight. They don't see the nights you got up after falling apart. They don't see the private moments where you had to choose hope over despair, faith over fear, truth over lie. But that's where the real growth happens, in the hidden places, in the soil that seems to suffocate you but is actually feeding you. You don't come out of that soil empty-handed. You come out stronger, sharper, clearer. You come out with a voice, with insight, with a testimony that carries weight. And when you start to bloom, because you will, you won't look like what you've been through, but you'll carry the wisdom of it. You'll speak and others will feel seen. You'll move and others will feel inspired. Why? Because you let the soil do its work. You didn't run from the process. You surrendered to it. And that surrender made you dangerous to everything that tried to destroy you. Pain is the soil that breaks the shell of who you thought you had to be so that who you really are can finally rise. So don't resent the soil. Don't curse the process. Don't wish away the pain. Because one day you'll look back and realize that the pain didn't kill you. It introduced you to the version of yourself that was always meant to bloom. Healing doesn't always come with fireworks. It doesn't always announce itself with big moments or loud victories. Sometimes healing is quiet, it's subtle, it's happening beneath the surface, and you won't even realize how far you've come until you look back. That's the thing. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not working. Healing isn't always this grand, transformative scene you can post about. Sometimes it's just choosing not to go back to what broke you. Sometimes it's getting through the day without shutting down. Sometimes it's breathing through the anxiety instead of letting it drown you. We've been conditioned to believe that healing has to be instant, obvious, and dramatic to be real. But the most powerful kind of healing is the one that takes its time, the one that slowly rebuilds your mind, your heart, and your identity. It doesn't rush. It doesn't force. It doesn't perform. It just is. And because of that, it's often misunderstood, even by you. You wonder, why am I still hurting? Why am I not over it yet? Why does this still trigger me? But the very fact that you're asking those questions is proof that healing is already in motion. The pain is no longer controlling you. You're observing it, acknowledging it, learning from it. That shift, that's healing. Healing is choosing to stay present when everything in you wants to numb out. It's saying, I'm still here when the weight tries to crush you. It's doing the work, not the performance, not the pretending, but the real work, even when there's no applause for it, even when no one sees you, even when you doubt if it's enough. What you don't realize is that healing is happening in the in-between moments, when you say no to something you used to tolerate, when you laugh without guilt, when you cry without shame, when you stop needing closure from people who were never capable of giving it to you. Those moments are small, but they're sacred, and every one of them is a stitch. Every one of them is part of the mending. You're being put back together slowly and intentionally. You don't have to have a visible transformation to know that you're changing. Some shifts are internal. Some growth is spiritual. Some healing you won't even notice until one day the thing that used to break you only causes a pause, not a spiral. One day you'll wake up and realize you didn't think about it the way you used to. You didn't carry it like a burden. You didn't wear it like a wound. And in that moment, you'll know healing was happening all along. You are not behind. You are not broken beyond repair. You are becoming. The version of you that's whole, she's already in process. Every tear you cried watered her. Every boundary you set protected her. Every moment you showed up when you didn't feel ready prepared her. You are becoming her even when you don't feel it, especially when you don't feel it. So if all you did today was try, that counts. If all you did was breathe and believe that maybe, just maybe, tomorrow could be lighter, that counts too. Because healing isn't a destination, it's a direction. It's a journey back to yourself, layer by layer, moment by moment. You may not see it yet, but the healing is working. There's a part of you that keeps reaching back, reaching for the version of yourself that existed before the pain, before the disappointment, before everything changed. And that makes sense because she was comfortable. She had routine. She had expectations. She had some sort of control. But here's the truth. She was only a fraction of who you were meant to be. And as much as you may miss her, you've outgrown her. You're not going back. You're becoming someone new. That version of you couldn't carry what's coming. She didn't have the depth. She didn't have the grit. She didn't have the clarity that comes from walking through fire and coming out alive. She was safe, yes, but she was also limited. She hadn't been tested yet. She hadn't had to fight for her voice. She hadn't learned how to choose herself. And now that you have, now that you've survived what tried to break you, you've stepped into becoming someone you never even knew was possible. And becoming, it's not easy. It's messy, it's confusing, it's layered. Some days you feel powerful and aligned, and some days you feel lost and raw. That's normal, because transformation is rarely pretty. The process of shedding who you used to be so you can grow into who you're meant to be, it comes with grief, it comes with doubt. It comes with this in-between space where nothing feels familiar anymore. But don't mistake that discomfort for failure. That tension, that's what growth feels like. You don't need to apologize for the ways you've changed. You don't owe anyone the version of you that made them comfortable but left you confined. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to shift. You're allowed to rewrite your story without shame. That's not betrayal. That's alignment. That's honoring the person you fought to become, because who you're becoming is stronger, wiser, more self-aware. You don't just react, you reflect. You don't just please, you protect. You've learned how to stand in your truth even when your voice shakes. You've learned how to sit with your feelings instead of running from them. You've learned that healing doesn't mean erasing the past. It means using it to build something new. It's okay to look back and love the old you. She got you here. But don't glamorize a version of yourself that you've already outgrown. Don't shrink just because the new you makes people uncomfortable. Some people were only aligned with your brokenness. They won't recognize your healed self, and that's okay. You're not here to be familiar. You're here to be free. Every decision you make from this point forward is shaping the woman, the one who knows her worth, the one who sets boundaries, the one who walks with intention. You're not becoming someone else. You're uncovering who you've always been beneath the layers of pain, expectation, fear, and survival. There will be moments when you miss the old you, but don't stay there. Thank her, love her, and keep moving forward, because what's ahead is greater than what's behind. You weren't created to repeat the same cycles. You were created to evolve, to rise, and to walk in a power that can't be shaken by what tried to break you. You're becoming, and that's the most sacred thing you could ever do. There's a moment in every painful season where it feels like everything is falling apart, like the weight is too much, like you're being stretched so far that you don't even recognize yourself anymore. And in that moment, it's easy to believe that you're being broken for no reason, that this hurt is senseless, that nothing good can come from it. But what if, just what if, the breaking is not meant to destroy you, but to make room for something greater to break through? The very thing that felt like it shattered you might be the thing that sets you free. Breakthrough rarely looks like what we expect. We think it comes in a flash, in a moment of glory or applause, but more often it shows up through pressure, through heartbreak, through a situation that knocks the wind out of you. But the pressure isn't a sign that you're weak, it's a sign that you're about to be elevated. There's something in you that could only be accessed through the breaking. You were carrying layers that needed to be stripped away, beliefs that kept you small, people who were draining you, cycles you didn't even realize you were repeating. And sometimes it takes a deep break for all of that to rise to the surface. It takes losing something you thought you couldn't live without to realize that you were never truly aligned with it in the first place. The pain revealed what was unstable. It exposed what couldn't go with you into the next chapter. And while it hurt deeply, it also cleared space. Space for clarity, space for healing, space for you to finally see yourself without all the noise, without the mask, without the pressure to perform. What broke you open also made you real. You're not fragile. You're being refined. You're not losing your mind. You're shedding what no longer serves your purpose. That breakdown you went through, that was the moment your soul said, no more pretending, no more shrinking, no more settling. That was the beginning of your breakthrough, not the end of your story. Some of the most powerful parts of you are being birthed through this pain. You are discovering your voice, your resilience, your vision. You're learning to lead yourself with grace, to hold space for your emotions without drowning in them, to stand in truth even when everything around you feels unstable, and that is breakthrough in motion. Every tear you cried didn't fall without reason. Every night you stayed up wondering if you'd ever feel whole again. Those were the contractions, the labor pains of becoming. And now you're stepping into a new dimension of yourself, one where you no longer apologize for your power, one where you stop asking for permission to heal, one where you move forward even if you're still tender, because something inside you knows this breaking was necessary. So don't despise it. Don't resent what it revealed. What broke you also broke the lie that said you weren't enough. It broke the silence. It broke the fear. It broke the illusion of control. And from those broken pieces, something holy is rising, something authentic, something unshakable. Your breakthrough isn't coming. It's already happening. You just didn't recognize it because it didn't look like freedom at first. It looked like falling apart, but sometimes falling apart is the very thing that sets you free. There's something sacred about scars. They're not just reminders of what hurt you. They're proof that you healed, that you made it through something that tried to end you, that you got up even when you were bleeding. You see, scars tell the truth. They're silent, but they speak volumes. They say, I've been through something, and I survived. And that survival, that's strength. We live in a world that teaches us to hide our scars, to cover them with filters, smiles, and silence, to act like we were never broken, to pretend like we always had it together. But the truth is, your scars are the most honest parts of you. They hold your story, they hold your journey, they hold your becoming. And there's nothing weak about that. In fact, that's where your power is. See, wounds are still open. They're still raw, still sensitive. But a scar means the wound closed. It means the healing has happened. It means the body, the soul, the heart found a way to stitch itself back together. And that process didn't happen overnight. It took time. It took tears. It took faith. But it happened. And now where there once was pain, there is a mark. A reminder, not of the trauma, but of the triumph. You don't have to hide what you've been through. You don't have to tuck your past away like it's something to be ashamed of. What hurt you shaped you. What challenged you refined you. What tried to break you actually built something stronger inside of you. That scar is not a sign of damage. It's a sign of depth, of grace, of resilience. And here's the beautiful part. Your scars make you relatable. They make you real. People are not inspired by perfection. They're inspired by truth, by authenticity, by the ones who can say, this broke me, but I didn't stay broken. Your scars make room for someone else to feel seen, to feel less alone, to believe that if you made it out, maybe they can too. You're not broken because you have scars. You're whole because you allowed yourself to heal. You chose to face what hurt instead of running from it. You chose to stay soft when the pain tried to make you bitter. You chose to love again even after heartbreak. You chose to trust again even after betrayal. That's not weakness. That's courage. Every scar you carry is a reminder of your capacity to overcome. And even though the world might not see the private wars you fought, you know what it took to get here. You know what you had to let go of, who you had to forgive, how many nights you had to push through when your heart felt heavy. And that knowing, that's your fire, that's your foundation. So when you feel tempted to minimize your journey, remember this: your scars are not your shame. They're your signature. They're the evidence that you are still here, still rising, still becoming. You didn't let what happened to you define your worth. You allowed it to deepen your wisdom, and now every scar on your heart, on your soul, on your story is a symbol of your strength. Pain has a way of showing up when we least expect it, disrupting the routine, the comfort, the sense of control we thought we had. It interrupts our plans, shakes our confidence, and sometimes even makes us question our identity. But what if that pain isn't here to destroy your purpose, but to fuel it? What if the very thing that wounded you is the thing that will wake you up to what you were truly created to do? There's something about pain that activates a part of you that comfort never could. Comfort keeps you coasting. Pain calls you higher. It disrupts your normal so that you can break free from the limits you didn't even realize you were living under. It calls you out of hiding, out of pretending, out of playing small. Pain introduces you to your fire. You don't know how powerful you are until pain forces you to find out, until everything falls apart and you still keep showing up, until the door closes and you decide to build your own, until the people you trusted walk away and you realize you're still worthy, still valuable, still enough. That's purpose rising. That's strength that couldn't be developed in ease. That's vision birthed through the valley. The thing is, purpose isn't always born in clarity. It's often born in chaos. When your plans are shattered, when you're face down in grief, when you're staring at a version of your life you didn't ask for, that's when something deeper gets revealed. That's when you start asking the hard questions. That's when you begin to look beyond the surface and reach for something real. And when you do that, when you dig beneath the pain, you begin to uncover a purpose that's bigger than you. Purpose doesn't erase the pain. It redeems it. It gives it meaning. It transforms it from something that just happened to you into something that now flows through you. Your story, your scars, your survival, it becomes someone else's hope. It becomes a message, a movement, a mission. You begin to realize that you didn't just go through the pain, you grew through it. There's a version of you on the other side of this pain who knows exactly why you had to walk through it. She's more focused, more courageous, more aligned. She's not easily shaken. She knows what matters. She doesn't waste her energy on what no longer feeds her soul. She's not here to please everyone. She's here to move with intention because the pain taught her that life is too precious to live numb, to live quiet, to live bound. You are becoming her even now. Every tear you've cried, every boundary you set, every time you've chosen healing over hiding, it's been building her. That fire in your belly, that passion in your bones, that idea that won't let you go, it was all ignited by what you've been through. The pain didn't put out your light, it sparked it. So don't dismiss the pain. Don't bury it so deep that you forget the lessons it taught you. Let it speak, let it fuel you, let it remind you of what you survived and how much more you're capable of. This pain wasn't the end of you, it was the beginning of something unstoppable. It didn't kill your purpose, it gave it power. Through every painful chapter, every tear shed, and every moment you felt like giving up, you were never truly broken. Instead, you were being remade. The pain, the heartache, the struggles, they were never meant to end your story. They were meant to be the soil where your purpose could take root and grow. You are not defined by what hurts you, but by what you learned, how you rose, and who you became in the process. You are stronger than you realize, wiser than you know, and braver than you give yourself credit for. Your scars are not signs of weakness. They are the marks of your resilience. The pain you endured didn't take away your potential. It sharpened it. It didn't steal your future. It set the stage for your breakthrough. You're not just surviving, you're transforming. And with every step, with every challenge, you're stepping into a version of yourself that is unstoppable. No matter how dark the path, no matter how fierce the storm, remember this: what's meant for you will always find you, and the pain you've endured is part of the story of how you rise into your purpose. And now, as you walk forward with strength and clarity, know that you're not just surviving the storm, you're learning how to dance in the rain. Keep going, because your best is still ahead.